Welcome to TimeBolt Office Hours on Thursday, March 21st, 2024. You are live with Doug and Quinston and our compadre TJ, and we're here to check your questions, answer your questions, check your workflows, and generally just make sure that you get the best out of TimeBolt. I mean, you'd think after saying that 350 times, I would have that even smoother by now, but there you go. That's what TimeBolt's for. Today, we want to talk about the new updates with the security protocol for Windows users. I don't know, TJ, I know that you had some questions about that. And then one of the major product updates that we haven't released yet that's actually live is the ability to see motion GIF images when you send a banger that people click on links. I think it's something simple to talk about, harder to execute, but it's even better once you do get those links inside emails and Slack. It lets you know that this video is for you and makes it clickable. It really kind of completes the communication circle with TimeBolt. TJ, you had asked a question about installing, you had some problems with installing Windows.
Well, the last one, the current release that we're on right now, for some reason it hiccuped on my machine. It said it was an unknown source and stuff. So I let it go. And then I also noticed that Windows had a couple of security updates for me. I just ended up shutting everything down gracefully, rebooting the box, doing the updates, shutting it down again, and then firing up the new update for TimeBolt, and it worked perfectly. Not sure.
You had to uninstall the previous one.
I didn't uninstall the previous one. I just dropped it right on top of the other one. And like I said, after the security updates from Windows, and then me probably rebooting the box after maybe 14 to 20 days, I thought it was probably a good thing to do. So after I did that, everything cleared up perfectly. So I'm back up and running, no problem.
Yes, before sending out a big email to everyone to update their Windows by uninstalling, I wanted to have this conversation with you. It's nice TJ's on here before I just send out a blanket email to exactly what the process is, because it sounds like you kind of circumvented that. What we're recommending, there was a new security update, required an entirely new way to do token authentication with the powers that be. The software powers be. For Windows users, it's not just as simple as just updating, letting TimeBolt update. You actually have to put this new version of TimeBolt on the computer, right, before it'll update again.
No, I don't understand what you mean by that.
If I am a Windows user and I don't download and update with the physical exe file, this new exe file, if I have TimeBolt on my Windows computer right now and I go to update it, like it says there's a new update available. What happens if
it doesn't auto update?
It doesn't.
It just says the update is available, but it doesn't download it automatically. You have to manually go to the download page and download a new exe file.
Help. That's where it is.
Help.
I do help, and then I bring it there.
You can go to help and then get the latest version.
Gene, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
You have a problem here where you have a screen recording. I can see you're making shorts. It's awesome. Let's talk about that. But right here where you've got some blank area right before your audio starts. What we're saying is that when I was like test a decibel rating between -30 to -42 dB, okay, you're going to actually put in -32, okay? Hit update silence detection settings and see what impact it has on your timeline. If you want to share your screen while you do that, we can make sure that you're set up properly.
It's okay. It was just a question about when there are hesitations during the recording, if we can delete them, but I think it's not possible now.
Hesitations as in, what does hesitation mean?
Like, I don't know, if I want to say a sentence and I'm like, I have hesitations, and then I say properly.
There is that's what Doug is saying. If you can share your screen, if it's possible, we can show you. There's something called ignore detections shorter than. If your sound is shorter than a particular value, if less in length, you can avoid that in TimeBolt. Like, for example, hit the mic, for example, there's like a small spike in the audio waveform, right? If you want to avoid that audio waveform, which is like really short, but TimeBolt will detect it if that setting is set to 0. Right now, there is a way to do that. If I can show you my screen if you want, or Doug can explain settings.
The video you sent was a good video, but it didn't show any of the settings, right? Like the settings are where, when I'm saying, do you want to fix it right now? You want to share your screen and we'll show you
quickly.
There was no reason in that video for there to be a big blank space of dead air. That's just a simple decibel level change.
Well, I think I have to edit something with the settings of Zoom, so I come back.
Okay, perfect.
And I will try on my own, and I will come back or ask another time. It's okay. Thank you very much, guys.
Sure, absolutely. Let us know what else we can do. And you're doing shorts workflows, stuff like that? Are you doing? I saw you editing in CapCut. Do you have any questions about your work? Since you're here, we can talk about, are you a new user to TimeBolt? What type of content do you make?
A new user. I saw one video with a French guy, and I was looking for saving time for my editing. I think it's good. I just have to discover and to adjust, but it's okay.
I would recommend you sound like a self learner going at it. There's a onboard video that we have 10 and a half minutes long. while you're screwing around with TimeBolt, I just play it, let it play through. You're going to learn a lot of key things in a super fast way that you can do, that you're going to want to do, that helps tremendously with CapCut workflows, specifically a shorts workflow for CapCut, how to export as clips once you get all your cuts made. You've got your different punch values and things like that with some quick keys. You can do a lot before you enter into that program. Your timeline is fully cut. You're not removing any additional content inside CapCut. You can export as clips, which makes your captions even more accurate. So you're not spending a bunch of time doing drag handle control with all that. So I'd highly recommend watching that 10.5-minute video, and it'll show you exactly how to change your decibel level, that you can get a precise cut. You shouldn't have anything that you don't want in there.
Okay, perfect. I will check this. Thank you very much.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for choosing TimeBolt, Gene.
See you guys.
Absolutely. Is it the reason I said Hawaii is because I literally just dropped my sister off at the airport and her husband, who are like country bumpkins, but they're going to some $3.5 million mansion. Like there's the aunt that some heiress. They're going to some huge mansion in Hawaii. There's a family from Colombia. I'm really excited.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
we can hear you.
Okay. I have a problem with DaVinci Resolve. Cuts did not apply to the timeline. I don't know why. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and
Oh, great.
I don't know why. Do you see my DaVinci Resolve?
Yeah, I can see
Yes.
it. Yeah.
I have opened here the integration, and if I choose the JSON, make open, nothing happens.
Can you close it and reopen it? Sometimes it just like doesn't. Also delete the 1 second.
The timeline?
Yeah, just if you can just make a new one, that helps. Sometimes it just doesn't recognize which timeline is open. That's also sometimes an issue. If you can just delete that timeline and make a new one, it might fix it.
Okay.
Yeah. Workspace.
Zoom.
Okay, this just doesn't work. I think it's the path. I think it can't find. Can you open console?
I think it too.
Workspace?
Can it be?
Can you go to workspace? Can you go to in DaVinci Resolve? Click on workspace and go to console. There might be some error in there. It says attempt to index local file. Yeah, it's a file issue. It can't find where the file is. So maybe it's a path issue.
I think the problem is with the German letters.
It could also be the spaces, maybe. But can you just put it on desktop and see? Put two files on desktop, the source file and the JSON file. And can you remove the dots I think there are also dots inside the file, right? The dots. I think even the dots. I'm not sure about the dots actually. Maybe it would work. Not the first ones, the date, the 02 dot. I don't think it's an issue, but just for the sake of this video.
Shall we try first? Oh, it's closed. Why?
Yeah, you closed. The video file can stay in its same place. Just the JSON file is something that you'll need to, because we're just testing it, right? We don't know what the issue is right now. New folder. It could be the German text actually.
I think. Oh, what's going on? I work on SSDs only.
I think the file is big, right? Okay. Also remove the spaces from the JSON file. The file on the desktop, it has dots and spaces. There's a space before the D, desktop before the D. Yeah, just to make sure. We don't know if that's causing an issue, but let's just be safe for now. We can create a timeline first. You can drag and drop the
menu of Zoom is on
workspace.
the top.
Yeah.
How can I disable the zoom buttons on the top?
No, that's okay. You can do that after the class. Let's just see if it works for now. Go to workspace and just open it up. Grips, comp, resolve integration. Apply. Go to desktop, text, test. Okay. Even this one has like a German character, right? The test, because you're first. Okay, let's just try it first. Okay,
does this work?
So there is some character which is not letting it happen. So if you open workspace console, let's see if there are any errors there. Workspace. Okay, no errors. It would work. Okay, let's do some experimentation now. Can you close it? Close the integration. Delete the timeline. No, the TimeBolt timeline. This the first one, the TimeBolt one. Keep the original ones. That's fine. That's not the issue. The timeline is not the issue. It is related to path. But let's check your original path. Where was the file originally? In this one, we have.
I think this letter is a problem.
It could be actually. I'm pretty sure that this was because of path. It couldn't find where the file was.
Can rename it. I have to close DaVinci Resolve, I think. Okay, let us try with this. Now I drag it from the original path.
But first you should copy the JSON back into your original path. You copied it, right? Workspace, scripts, comp, TimeBolt resolve.
Now I have to change. Okay. It's a letter problem.
That one character. I'll take this into consideration. I'll find out why that's happening, because generally it should not happen. I've never seen this happen, by the way, before. We have had like French and Spanish characters also written in. We didn't have this problem. So this is German, right?
Yes.
German. I'll take that into consideration. I'll check out if I'll write some test cases and see if I can figure this out. Can you send that character in chat? That character which was there. Do you have it?
Yes.
Just put it in the Zoom chat so I can copy it and keep it with me.
No, I think if this works, it would be very great for me. Then I can. Good. Now I know what's the problem. I have changed the letter U to UE. Now it works. But I didn't know why it works. It was a bit frustrating.
In the console, right? That's what I showed you, right? In Workspace console, if you it will give you some clues. When you click on that, it will show some issue. And if it says path, it means that it's a path issue. If it says null, if it says something like that, it's a path issue because it can't find where the file is.
Okay.
It's a good way
to troubleshoot in DaVinci Resolve if you click the JSON and nothing happens.
You can go to Workspace console, and it will, if you have a bunch of errors in red, and if the last line says path or path equal to null, something along those lines, then you can be sure that it's a path issue. You can't find where the file is.
Can you just give us a real quick rundown what type of content you make and how you found TimeBolt?
I use TimeBolt since 2 years, I think. Not sure. I do mostly of the time YouTube videos, not short form, vertical, horizontal. I make many talking head videos, and therefore I have many thinking pauses. Therefore, it's very helpful for me to cut this out automatically and do not have to trim every still second by myself. Yeah, and I like the program. Yes, definitely. It's a very good program. As I said, this problem frustrated me a bit, but now I know what to do, and maybe you can find a fix.
We'll try. It's just that the issue with integrations, if you see like everything with the TimeBolt app, it doesn't have any issues. All the issues come when you go to a different program.
Okay.
Video editors in general have very poor support for developers. Like as we are developing extensions for these bigger company products, right? Like DaVinci Resolve, and they don't have a lot of support in the API and documentation for developers. It becomes like a trial and error thing where you have to like test something, and then whether it works or not, you have to try it over and over again. It takes a bit of time to make sure that the software is polished.
Okay. One question maybe I have. I started TimeBolt just before I jumped into the Zoom. It says to me there's an update, but I have no choice.
The new version is not backwards compatible. You have to manually download the new version. You can go to help. You can go to help and click on get latest, and then you can download it.
And after this, I can update in the program itself.
Do I have only this update? This is the only update which is not backwards compatible. But
okay. How do I recognize if there is a new version of the integration of Resolve?
At the moment, the last one was released, I think, 2 weeks ago. But if there is an update, we usually, on the Resolve integration, we usually send an email because it's not an auto update thing. At the moment, if you have downloaded in the last 2-3 weeks, you probably have the latest one.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Wal. Appreciate you choosing TimeBolt. I know Ed joined us, and Steve, and Ed will be getting with you. Steve, do you have any specific questions here, or were you just kind of joining in?
I'm kind of joining in. I just have the easiest ones in the world that I kind of know the answer to, but I'm just double checking with you. The first one, this is my background. It's pretty dumpy. Do you have any green screen at all, like Zoom or any of the other ones, to kind of put in a virtual background?
We don't at this time. To do inside of Capture, you would have to get your own green screen.
I would just find a cooler place to shoot, but this is like my main desk and my main computer. Sort of, I like to do it here. It just isn't going to work without. And the second one, like this computer I have on a ledge, it's a big iMac, and it's kind of perched high. Whether I do it higher or lower, even if you see how I'm talking to you on the Zoom, it doesn't look like I have direct eye contact with the speaker in the video, like a mirror, like it should. So I'm wondering again, do most people, to get that right, kind of get an external camera and use an external camera and kind of just play with it and get it right, versus again using just whatever's kind of built into your computer and running with it?
Here, I don't know if you've seen me, like I'm talking to you right now, and like I'm looking directly at you, but I'm actually looking at you and I'm looking at my camera at the same time. If you want to do a setup like that, this is what it would look like. This is my secret sauce. This is the new Elgato prompter. It has an integrated screen, and like you don't have to get a separate iPad or anything like that. And behind it, that's actually my DSLR camera. It connects right up to it. It'll connect right up to any DSLR. It actually acts as like a third screen source on Mac. I'm looking directly at the camera and for Zoom calls. And then this also acts as a teleprompter. I could put on like words and be able to read from a screen, but it looks like I'm looking right into the camera lens. This is something that I would highly recommend if you're going to put some money into something. You don't have to get like a really expensive DSLR camera. I get a Sony ZV-E10. Okay, that's the YouTube vlogger camera. It's the most popular one. Use the existing lens that comes with it. You'll just have to figure out, hey, I've got to get a power source to it, but it's always on. And then you get your Elgato prompter, which is $285, or it's something extremely reasonable that
$329 on Amazon.
How much?
$329.42.
Nice. It took me like 4 months to get mine when I tried to get it, but
what's the other one again? I got the Sony ZV-E10, and what's the second one?
the Elgato prompter.
Elgato prompter. I'll look at those. And again, I was obviously
don't get the prompter exactly the same time you get the camera. First, like experiment with the camera, record some videos.
He's gonna have a hard time looking at it. Like if he is going to go all in, it's just as easy to like look.
If you're going to go all in, yes.
Otherwise, there's always.
Okay. And the last one, again, I think is a simple note is the other one too, is where like when I've used other tools, you can kind of highlight the section of the screen that you want. And then when I pull up the TimeBolt, it says select window, but the only drop down is full screen. And obviously too, like my full screen's way too huge. I don't want the full screen. I just kind of want a portion of it. Is there a way to select the section, or do I have to just, again, kind of find another way to cut and paste and kind of do that manually?
You brought up a good point. And when it comes to capture, the two places that we see room for improvement are the possibility of doing something with a green screen or having, I don't know what's involved with that, Quinston. I know that you've taken a look at like what it would be like to put a green screen or to put some other type of background. I don't know even if you put a green screen effect behind you, like you still have to put something behind you.
Yeah, no, for sure.
How do we help you go all the way with being able to just kind of put yourself in a different background? And then the second thing would be is having selectable sources, like having a vertical capture area and a square capture area and a full screen capture area that would then also have drag handle controls that maintained its aspect ratio, right? So you're not like trying to figure out what's a square and using QuickTime type tools for that, because it takes quite a bit.
Can I jump in here for a second? What program are you using to edit, Steve?
I'm just the very beginning, and it's going to be CapCut. And again, I kind of learned that last week from Doug and Winston.
Well, I have no experience with CapCut. I use Final Cut Pro, and there are several plugins to remove backgrounds in Final Cut. But I don't know what it is, $300 for the program, I think.
Yeah.
And I think CapCut is free. But see if you can find a plugin for CapCut that will remove background. FX Factory makes sells a couple of background removers. Motion VFX also sells one.
Thanks. And then what I think I'm going to probably do is just record with a different tool and still just use CapCut for what CapCut's best for, cutting and slicing, and then still throw it all into 2, 5, 10 videos together to make a longer one.
You could record with Zoom if you have that. Put a background, for example. Obviously, I've got a background on mine because you can see my face disappearing as I turn my head.
I just put this again to kind of show how horrible mine is. But normally, again, I've kind of got either my stock market or my little office, and this is how I roll for Zoom.
There's my office. You can see I just put backgrounds. I like Ghost Girls. I make Ghost Girls with Photoshop, but I don't use the Ghost Girls in my real estate videos. These are just fun little backgrounds I have.
Yeah.
But
it's like my dating videos, life. Ghost Girls.
Yeah, Roger that.
I think we can all talk about female robot companionship now. It's a good time to switch topics.
All right. Well, thanks. It's just learning how to do this. I'm just the ultimate rookie and was kind of trying to figure that out this week. Well, just one week at a time.
Yes, I agree. Go with Zoom. If you get a green screen background, like they come as I got Elgato has all the great stuff. They've got actually like a pull-up deal to get 2 of them. That's going to run you a couple $100, but I got mine up on my wall. You'll have to have a place to store them, but here's.
My friend didn't even have like a green screen, but you could just tell it was just some sort of like real wall that he put behind himself, and it looked classy. And
see, like these open up into 6-foot extensions of green screen, and you just put those right behind you.
I have the same here.
But I completely agree. Part of our capture initiative is to really focus in on that, because I think being able to put yourself in the right backgrounds is absolutely important. And being able to capture a specific area of your screen while maintaining the aspect ratio is another really big piece that would really help complete our capture.
And same thing, like I have a little microphone here, but I don't have any lights. So I'm just trying to get off the ground with my built into the computer cameras, and just one step at a time to raise the quality as I'm learning how to do this, and can spend your $500,000 to kind of get your camera or your other accessories when that time comes. But right here, right now, I got to just make the best of what I got.
Absolutely.
I just put a link in the chat for a YouTube video on background removers for CapCut.
Oh, cool.
I have not watched it.
Thank you.
It's 2 minutes. So.
Perfect. That's awesome. That'll probably, again, it's great. Last week, it was just 3 of us. It's great that there's so many more people on this week.
Are you on a Mac? Steve?
Yes.
Or on a PC? Ah, okay. If
And,
you had
and
a PC, you could use NVIDIA Broadcast. This does such a great job for removable backgrounds without green screen, much better than Zoom or Teams or so on. This works very good, but on Mac,
Broadcast needs a GPU, right?
NVIDIA GPU. Yeah.
NVIDIA GPU.
and same thing, like I have a nice iMac here, but it's just perched weird, so I don't have eye contact, but I still could maybe just film on my little laptop, which again isn't the greatest, but if I can just make it work and be looking straight, then it's good to go. It's just a matter of using what I can until I get like the full-on camera setup.
But I can show you something. Or I had the same problem before.
Yeah.
Because my I have 34. Don't know what's the English word. I bought me a simple for my handy, for my smartphone, and this cost only $20. Very simple, but very useful.
No, that's a great idea because the phone cameras are so good these days too.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's 4K.
Yeah, I mean, what I showed you, I
with 4K.
was flipping back and forth between my iPhone. And that's how I started, was an iPhone,
Yeah.
not a Sony ZV-E10 with an Elgato prompter.
Again, I'm just learning one step at a time to kind of what to use with what I got and then the right steps. But I think that's a great idea too with the tripod. I kind of was scratching my head on that last night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Use your smartphone is the best way for cheap recording in a good quality. But you have to use a sound system. I have the Rode wireless. It's okay.
Put that one
wireless me. You see it?
Yes.
Rode wireless mic.
It's a little
That's what I
brother
have,
of the wireless Go, but it works good.
That's enough for me. You can kind of whoever else is next. But thank you. And I'll just again kind of chime in every week, just watch you guys work.
I know we're speaking with that. It looks like he left he might have disappeared.
I'm downstairs making a cup of coffee right now. I'm about to die.
Let me check here real quick. We'll wait for you to get back up. Is that and what can we help you with today?
I have a few questions with TimeBolt. I'm using TimeBolt already a few years. I think when TimeBolt comes out, I purchase my license and I'm using already enough time this software, but I still have a few questions. Maybe Winston and you can help me to understand a few things because I would like to use every possible function.
Perfect. That's what we're here for. That's what this show's all about. What are your first questions?
I have a few questions. Can someone of you open a TimeBolt, navigate and see what I still do not understand? Here we have two options for shift cuts. I still cannot understand
shift cuts.
Because we have two options. The first one is after we save our project, we have a JSON file. After we did that, we can apply our JSON file and reopen our file. Our timeline will be already cutted. Also, we have options if we have multicam in our software, our NOE software, for example, DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut, or Premiere Pro. We have a few tracks for different cameras. We can shift our time. So after we apply our JSON file, everything will be in the same time.
Yeah, shift cuts has now been you should not be using shift cuts. We have other solutions for that now. If you're using DaVinci, if you go up to the top in the menu bar, you have multi-file utilities in the menu, TimeBolt file edit. It's called multi-file utilities. And in that, there's options of how the new processes of these work. You should not have to use shift cut in any capacity right now. Which software are you using?
We can use extension for that.
What
the
software?
extension is, which software are you using?
Using Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve, but
we have extensions for both of them. In the extension, let me just show you what we can do with the extension. Maybe I'll just give you a shift cuts has been deprecated for about a year now. I think 2 years. We came out with the extension about 2 years ago.
There is two buttons, one each other. You can press apply shift and only shift, I think.
Let me just show you. I'll just share my screen one second. I'm going to just take a sample file. I'm just going to use, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this file and drop it in TimeBolt. Now, for this purpose, I don't have a multicam file. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the same file and paste it again, just to make just to create some sort of a demonstration. Imagine these are two different files which are synced, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're imagining. So maybe this could be a file from one camera. This could be a file from a different camera. So that's what we are simulating in this example. In that case, what I would do is I will take the file that starts first. Okay, the file that starts first. That's the file that I put into TimeBolt. If you think about it, if all of the files are synced, if you take the audio, all the cuts would be the same, right?
Yeah.
Because all of the files have the same audio. That's the logic, essentially. The logic is that...
We will sync this...
correct.
We will apply JSON for all of them, and because
exactly,
the cut will match each other.
But here we have synchronize, and then we'll do audio synchronization with the track. That's like a normal Premiere Pro thing. Then what I'll do is you want to time bolt the file which starts first, because if it starts first, it means that it has more precedence. In this case, the files are all the same length, so it doesn't matter which file you choose. But ideally, you choose the file that starts first.
You're going to know when I record, I'm going to hit whatever my master audio is. I'm going to hit record on that first, and I'm going to hit stop on it last, right? So it's the longest file.
Longest and starts first, ideally. Longest might,
Doesn't it matter on which track the longest file is, or is it?
No, it depends on which file. Track is, you can adjust the tracks. In TimeBolt, you don't have to have it on the same, you have to have it on the same track, but sometimes what happens is some files have more tracks, right? Then you need to adjust it like this, for example. You need to make it, but then that's not related right now. Let's just not, I'll give him a demonstration, then I'll tell him about the intricacies. But for now, let's just focus on the fact that the file that you TimeBolt starts first and is the longest file. Now I'm going to open that file in TimeBolt. It's the same file. I'm imagining my V1A1 is my longest file, and one starts first. I get my cuts, I make some changes, right? Get my cuts, make some changes, and then I'm gonna export as a JSON.
And
so
after that, we will use this extension in Premiere Pro and apply this JSON to
I'm gonna select all of it. Select all, apply the JSON, and find where the JSON is. You don't have to shift the cuts ever. There's no reason to shift. If you have a decimal frame rate, sometimes there is like the ends are like, there's some garbage values at the end. You can just delete that. Doesn't affect anything. These are your cuts essentially.
Open TimeBolt again, because I have a few different questions.
Sure. Where you find it is over here. So you just go into multi-file utilities, and then you go into Adobe Premiere Pro extension or DaVinci Resolve extension. So you can click on this, and it will take you to a page. It has like video tutorials and like for different situations, how it works. Like if you have multiple situations, it has explanations of how it works.
I already installed this extension and they work perfectly. Can you explain me, I think the WASD option, Turbo?
Turbo is more for like video that you're going to encode and create inside TimeBolt. And it's for quick video communications. It's for shorts. Like anything that you're going to export out is not something that you're going to apply turbo mode to. I'm sure you wish you could, but what turbo does is it basically takes and compresses the time down and allows you to like talk 12% faster.
It basically applies a multiplier, speed multiplier to the entire video. If you output a normal speed video and you want to, let's say, make yourself sound 12%, 15%, 20% faster. You want the video to be shorter in length, but you want it to like have a speed multiplier, then you can add it in TimeBolt.
Okay, if we add 1.3, we'll increase it with 30%, right?
Correct, exactly.
Correct.
Okay. And one more thing is you can fit it in time frames. It actually has Doug, can you open that feature? It actually has like a time limit to fit within. If you want to like set, okay, I only want 90 seconds. I want to speed it up so much that it should fit in 90 seconds. It will calculate how much speed it has to apply in order to get it to fit within 90 seconds.
For example, where the time limit comes into play, this is a vertical video. You're going to look at the output duration. It's 1 minute and 18 seconds. Let's say that you wanted to turn this into a 1 minute short. Okay. As you're going through, you're like, oh, I don't want that. And I don't want this. And I don't want this. Let's find something else here. And I don't want this. Now what happens is you're like, man, as you're cutting it down, you can see this went from a minute and some odd down to 1 minute and 8 seconds, but you need it down to 60 seconds, right? But you don't want to get rid of more material. What you can do now is activate turbo mode, and you can say, keep this constrained to 60 seconds. That means it's going to speed everything up in that by basically 14.5%. Okay. And then for shorts, I would hit export clips to a folder. And once you do that, once you hit export clips,
it won't work because your render is already.
Once you hit export clips to a folder, okay, it puts these all in sequential order, and all of the clips actually become like, all your cuts are like actual video clips that you can then export into CapCut, which makes the transcriptions and all. It basically gives you a fully cut timeline to work with. I was just going to show you, but what's nice is when it speeds up, it doesn't make you sound like a chipmunk. It just increases I don't know how it doesn't do it, but you don't sound like Alvin the Chipmunk if you're increasing the rate of speech on YouTube. Like if you put it on 1.5, it's going to talk like you're talking on 1.5, right? Okay. With this, it's not like that.
These two options that are on turbo modes depend on each other.
The two options.
If we decide to increase our speed with 30%, we can enter 1.3. And if our video is 1 minute,
yes, it calculates the duration. So what it does is a two-step process. First, it calculates all of the greens, and then it basically adds them up, and then it uses the math from the speed up and then divides that by like how much the final sped up duration would be. They're both interlinked.
This automatically calculates our time. If we have a video that is 1 minute and 20 seconds, and we decide that this video to be maximum length of 50 seconds, and we enter limit with 60 seconds, this will slow down our video to 60 seconds.
If it's both opposite, it will speed up and it will slow down if you do the opposite. So if a video is 50 seconds and you say I want 60 seconds, you have to slow it down by 10 seconds, right? It will be a 0.991 speed up, for example. So because you have to slow it down, there's going to be a value less than 1.
You don't want that. It's the only time
you usually don't want that.
Slows anything down. Like you can't slow down time except for with turbo. Like you can draw it out. You can sound.
The whole point is to speed it up.
But you typically don't want to do anything over for every minute of video that you're going to speed up. You don't really want it over 1 minute and 8 seconds, right? Because then it'll speed it up just kind of too much.
The ideal one is the ideal speed up rate for non-detection is about 12.5%. 1.125 is the ideal speed up that you need
for like long Zoom calls, stuff like that. But like this is a difference. There's a difference here. I think this is about to get done rendering. You can kind of hear what 1.3 sounds like. It'll activate turbo mode. But like this is one of the key pieces here that I wanted to show you. Okay. That's another great use case for it'll speed up the whole video here.
Can you also ask another question? Because the end of the TimeBolt, we have a few options for export in different formats. The only option that I do not understand is XML Sequence. What's the difference between XML Sequence? I think the XML Sequence are a few XMLs that are in one, maybe?
This is something we introduced specifically for situations where you have a video file and an audio file. Sometimes what people do is they have their camera, they record themselves, and they have an external audio microphone where they will use Audacity or Audition to record their voice from their microphone, but they will use their DSLR to record the camera. This is a specific situation for which you can use XML Sequence. So what you do is, you can see my screen, right? I'm sure. Let me just export the same video. So I've saved the same video, and I'm going to just do XML Sequence export, drag it in, same way you do normally. It's going to open up. And now you can see that there are 3 files. Usually when you do XML import in Premiere Pro from TimeBolt, you only have 2 files. But now you see there are 3 files. One of them is called source video, and one of them is called video.mp4. If I open them up, you can see that the source video contains literally straight up the video. But video.mp4 contains cuts, but they are green in color. Now, the reason they're green in color is because in Premiere Pro, there's something called a sequence. And a sequence is essentially a bunch of clips which are arranged in the way you want them to appear in the exported video, right? You want your timeline. The sequence is essentially the timeline. In this case, instead of editing the clips of the video, we converted a sequence of the clips. And then that sequence is what we edit. You might have heard about a concatenation of clips, right? You select a bunch of clips in Premiere Pro, right click and concatenate them or make them a subsequence. That's what's essentially happening. Now what you do is, I'll show you where this is useful. As I said, I have my video, but my audio was recorded separately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and find where my audio file was. Let's assume this is my audio file. I import it. And in my source video sequence, plop in that audio file, and I'm going to mute the audio from the video is muted, and this new audio file that I just recorded using my external microphone is what I dropped into this. And now when I close everything and open my video, the audio that's played in the sequence is actually from the new one. That's what it's for, essentially.
I think this is genius, but I think I do not understand the final process.
This is it. The final process is you got your sequence, right? So now you can start editing.
When would you use it? Like that's, I guess he's having us run through all the export options. Oh, like when would you actually use sequence?
I just showed you another, when you have
an external microphone. Okay.
This is where you will finish your editing. So right now in this sequence, you will start finishing your editing. Maybe if I add another video, for example, like this one, now I can just do the normal editing if I want to add some more stuff at the end. And then I can just like export it. I can say in out and then export. And that's my video with the new audio file. This is a good solution if you don't want to use the extension and you just have an external microphone.
Is there any way where this software understand the previous audio track and apply these settings to the different audio microphone that we use?
It can work. Let's assume you just have a WAV file, right? So you were talking about having just a raw WAV file first, and then the cuts will be on the audio, and then you will apply them to the video. That's what we're talking about, right? In that case, what you would do is in TimeBolt, you would actually, instead of loading up the video, you would load up the audio, and then you would do an XML sequence. You will set your audio files don't have a frame rate because audio files are not video files. They have no frames per second. They have sample rate. You can set your export frame rate to whatever you want. In this case, our video file has a 29.97 frame rate. So I'm just going to put 29.97 and I'm just going to open it, drag it into Premiere Pro. Sometimes it causes an issue. But in this case, your audio, right?
Yeah.
Your audio sequence. And now I'm going to add the video on top of it. So I'm going to add the video on top. This is the opposite of what we did earlier. I can unlink it. And this is the one that's muted because this is for the video. And you have it for the audio. And then when I go back to my audio.wave, you have the video on the top. You can do it either ways. You can start with the audio file and then create an XML sequence, or you can start with the video file and then create the XML sequence. At the end, the point is how do you combine them both together? And that's what the XML sequence helps you.
Is this will work if we decide now to export this? Do we have the audio, the good audio, and
Yes,
the video?
Yes. You can choose which one you want. You can choose which track you want. I've muted the one with the video and I've chosen the good one. So you can choose both. Actually, you can even like add more stuff in it. Like it doesn't even matter if it's the same video. You can even add like more tracks. The point is that it works in multiple ways, right? It also works for if you have multi-track video. If you have a video which has multiple tracks, like you recorded from OBS, for example, you have on one track you have your voice, on another track you have the music, on another track you have your friend speaking. That can also work because in TimeBolt you can select multi-tracks. So you can select which track you want the TimeBolt algorithm to run on, and then you can export the XML sequence. So it will show up as 3 tracks now inside of Premiere Pro.
This will allow to a few tracks
and play around with it. Right now, you should try it out. Just try it out once. If you want more information about XML sequence, you can find a YouTube video which explains how to create a sequence, because there is actually a way. What happens is, this is not a TimeBolt feature, right? This is a Premiere Pro feature. Technically, Premiere Pro is the inventor of this feature. We are just using what Premiere Pro gives us. So for example, if I want to create a sequence of this, okay, I've created a sequence. Now I've edited the sequence. Now I'm doing a C cut. I'm going to delete some parts. If I go in, it's the same video. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is a Premiere Pro thing. You can do a YouTube search and search how sequences work. And then once you learn that, this will be a very easy thing for you to do. I'll make a statement here. XML export, like the vanilla XML export, is if you have one long file, which is video or audio, both work. XML sequence is when you have one video file and with multiple tracks and one external audio file, okay? Or external, one, maximum 2 files I'm talking about. And the Premiere Pro extension is if you have a lot of files. If these solutions don't work, then the last solution is basically the extension.
Okay, is this work only for Premiere Pro?
XML sequence, it's only for Premiere Pro. XML works on DaVinci Resolve. This XML, it works on DaVinci Resolve.
Can you open the settings menu? And after you scroll a little bit, you have option create split, but don't delete detected silence. What that mean?
What happens is that you see these red parts, right? These red parts that are like silence. If you don't have that setting selected, then only the green parts will come in Premiere Pro.
Okay,
but you have that option selected, it'll keep these cuts. So it will make the split, but it will not delete that red part. It will keep it.
I understood. If we uncheck this option like is default right now, after we export this and import in our software, this green cuts only will be available. And if we check this check mark, everything will be available, but only we will have every cut split, and we will decide what to. Okay, I understood. Thanks so much for your help.
One more thing that I think a lot of people haven't watched the onboarding video, and I know you've been using TimeBolt for a long time, but you still should watch it. You can just go to timebolt.io/, Doug can put the link in, or you can go to the YouTube channel. Go
to our YouTube channel. We just came out with a brand new onboard video that's going to show you a lot of new things. Like, we were talking like the real intricacies of export, but like the stuff that what you can do inside TimeBolt before you export is all within that video. It's on our YouTube. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and subscribe.
Yeah, it's called Master YouTube. I'll put the link in the chat. You can just click on it.
It's our brand new video. Just leave that open while you're running with TimeBolt. You're going to learn some cool new things, how to capture with it, how to send quick video messages with TimeBolt, punch in, speed up silences, fact that you can fast forward, what Turbo does, how to do CapCut workflows and export for shorts. All of that's contained within that video. And
thanks so much for your help, guys.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for choosing TimeBolt.
Can I ask a short question?
Yeah, please.
Winston showed 2 buttons for save JSON. The first is under the timeline, and the second is on the button of the. Is it both the same, or
it's both the same?
A difference?
Yes,
the same. Okay.
The reason for that is because people use it for different applications. Some people use it to save the timeline to apply it again. Some people use it to export the JSON to go to Premiere Pro. It's the same feature, but it makes sense to like mentally separate it so that people don't mix it up.
Okay. And
it's a product development thing.
Yeah, no problem. One thing what I recognized in Resolve, sometimes it stacks by generating the little clips. Then happens that on the second layer comes a new clip, but I have in the original timeline only one clip on one video track, and sometimes it puts in the middle and sometimes on the end, some schnipsel. I don't know why.
Yeah, there's sometimes what happens is that because TimeBolt uses a different calculation mechanism to get where the cuts should be, and then Premiere Pro uses strict frame rates, right? So if in TimeBolt there is like a value which is 23.994, like maybe that's the value. In Premiere Pro, when it comes, it has to be converted into its own localized. That sometimes creates garbage values which don't have any place to go. So they go at the end. It's just that's what happens.
Okay.
It's just a rounding error
deleted.
essentially. It's a rounding error which happens. I don't know how to fix it. I've tried fixing it a bunch of times, but it happens in Premiere Pro also sometimes. And I think it only happens with like a decimal point frame rates, like 29.97 or a 59.94.
I have 25 or 20 or 30.
It might happen. I'm not sure. But yeah, I've observed it happen, but that's mostly because of the garbage values. But the solution is just to delete them at the end. Just delete them and you're done.
It's a new timeline creation. Is this necessary for TimeBolt?
No, it's not necessary. No, it's not.
Because if I apply the cuts, it makes...
That's a limitation of DaVinci Resolve. I can't do anything because the way they don't let us access, or they do, but it's very difficult to access the current timeline. And also one thing is that the new timeline is better because it doesn't touch the old one. So if you want to go back to the old one and reapply the cuts, it's easier. It's a constraint, but it still works in some sense. So I don't think it will change in the future. But I think it's fine. I don't think it's a big problem.
But there's no way, or it's not the same like in Premiere if I
no, it's not.
change
In
the
Premiere,
audio
you can do it in the same timeline.
Okay.
In Premiere, there's something called a sequence. As you saw, the sequence is essentially where all the cuts live, and you can actually change the sequence in Premiere Pro.
Okay, but not in Resolve.
There are limitations. There are only like the ones you create, you can change. Like I have to create a new timeline from the app, from the extension, and then I can edit them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. Is there anything in particular we can help you with? I don't know if they're joined us or just kind of on there. Quincy, before we jump off, I've got some other kind of like support questions that we can just kind of review offline. Well, we're just getting ready to jump off, Jim. Well, we usually have a hour-long show. We kind of go through what we do here at what TimeBolt does and work through some of the workflows and optimize what you're working on existing, just to answer questions. Every Thursday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, we do that. And I'll be happy to take a look at how you're using TimeBolt and videos. Paul, are you good to go?
Yes.
All right, great. Well, I appreciate you using TimeBolt and showing up for office hours. And that's it for TimeBolt office hours. Don't forget the like button, subscribe, and of course, the notification bell when we go live. And we're out of time. Thank you very much.